Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Oh, love your hair.
Thank you.
You look gorgeous.
I was wearing a hat while I was walking the dog.
Yeah, I know. It's cold here right
It's
now.
cold now.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Sit in It for a Bit with Arne and Carlos. And we are, as always, your hosts.
Arne and Carlos.
And Sit in It for a Bit is back with yet another episode. And I am so delighted, Arne, that we've managed to keep this going already for a month.
I couldn't believe. I actually didn't believe that we could do this after New Year because life is going back to normal. And in my head, I was all over the world.
Yeah, but we are.
And we are.
And we're here. So we are delighted to be back, and we are so happy with all the viewers that watch our podcast every single week. I cannot imagine why, because, I mean, we talk about nothing.
But it's because our life is so interesting.
Yeah,
so
right.
we have to talk about it because there's so much going on.
Yeah.
And you could, if you move to the middle of nowhere, you will see things are happening.
Well, yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, no, really.
So much to talk about.
Sometimes I'm like, why? The podcast is called Sit in It for a Bit. We hardly talk about knitting. I mean, we throw in some knitting in the end of our podcast.
We talk about knitting if we have done some knitting last week.
Yeah.
Or in the last days.
But usually we tend to digress a lot, so we want to do the knitting talk, but then we have all these other things to tell you guys, so we forget to talk about the knitting, and then in the end we kind of throw it in last minute because wow. But anyway, we've come to the conclusion that sit in it for a bit means that you sit and knit for a bit. We just talk about nothing.
We talk about something that rhymes on bit.
Yeah, or nothing anyway. So yeah, that's the way it is. If you are an old time follower of the Arne and Carlos YouTube channel, you know that Sit in It for a Bit started out as an entertaining channel when the pandemic hit and we had nothing to do because we were locked down.
It was a quarantine podcast.
It was a quarantine podcast. We were supposed to be in Australia. We ended up locked here. And so that's how it started. And now more and more people join in. Some people come here and they get confused because is it a knitting podcast? Why aren't they talking about knitting? And then they also wonder, why do they always say 15 minutes? It usually never lasts.
Have people said that?
Yeah. But I think it's 15 minutes.
It's 15 minutes.
Yeah. Because time passes so quickly when we're having fun and enjoying this moment
if
with you
we take
guys.
the time from now.
Yeah?
Yeah. 15 minutes from now.
15 or 50?
15.
15, yeah.
No,
You know.
let's see. But do you know there's so much going on, and while you knit or do something else, we talk about what we have done the last days, and sometimes it's other stuff than knitting because we are multitasking.
Mm-hmm.
What do you call that when you do a lot of stuff? Multikunstner?
Oh, that's a multi-artist. So I suppose a multi-artist is an artist in all different kinds of fields.
Yeah, you're a little bit all over
You're a little bit all over the place.
And we're all over the place.
Yeah.
And this time we actually would try to do something while we talk.
Yeah, for once. But yeah, we live a very exciting life, apparently, in the middle of nowhere. I mean, when we were in lockdown, we used to, recap our days, which consisted of hiding behind the bushes because we couldn't meet anyone, remember? Mm-hmm. And nowadays we are getting out into the world again and living
But
again.
I think that like this week, I went to the grocery store and I met my old boss when I was a teacher in art school, and he was like, "Are you still living on that station?" And he's like, behind those words or what he said is like, because that's kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. So
then I said, well, yeah, we still live there because we live in a very local place when you stay in this area because we are on the border and we are 2 hours from the airport. So we are actually very central.
Yeah.
Because
centrally located.
We are very centrally located. Yeah.
And for you guys, for the people that are new, when we talk about a station, we live on top of a Norwegian mountain here in Norway. And we bought a railway station 20 years ago and we converted it into a design studio and our home. So we live in a repurposed train station. Anyway, Arne, this is what happens all the time. We are supposed to stick to one thing, and then we start digressing. No wonder we end up only talking about knitting for 4 minutes. But today, you started by saying that we were going to multitask, and now you're talking about your old boss, who, by the way, you said to me had aged quite a lot. Because you said that to me.
He probably said that about me also.
You think?
Yeah. But I didn't recognize him at all.
I don't think you look a year over
28. Did I hear 28?
Yeah.
Did you say 28?
I was going to say a number, and then I just decided I didn't want to offend you. So
well, let's talk about eggs. We have eggs.
Yeah,
we're going to stuff some eggs.
Yeah, we released a dozen. We released a dozen knitted eggs a few weeks ago. They're on our website at arnecarlos.com. And as we get closer to spring, which in Norway is a little bit further away from other countries, you know, time-wise, especially
really.
Yeah. So we like decorating. We like bringing a little bit of the outdoor in, and we like making cute little displays with twigs and branches from nature. You know, we put them in water, and then we see the leaves spring out, and then we like hanging little knitted eggs, kind of like Christmas, but in spring. Mm-hmm. And so we did a dozen eggs last year, and we've done a dozen eggs this year, and we are still making because we don't have enough. So we've got a couple here that we need to stuff.
Yeah.
And we thought we'd multitask. You see, we've got our filling here, and we've got an egg here. I guess I'm going to stuff this.
Mm-hmm. And I knitted one of last year's eggs as well, because last year we made them in a cotton yarn. This year we used our yarn, the Norwegian wool from Rowan, mm-hmm. and this is from last year.
Yeah.
And in my head, I was trying, or actually not in my head, in the washing machine.
You were felting the egg in the washing machine, not in your head.
My idea was to felt them, because he did that many years ago in another yarn, and I have been felting this yarn, and it felt really nice. Mm. But I think we had.
Are you eating the woolen egg?
I had this one.
Yeah.
No, and I think we had too much stuff in the washing machine, because I tried three times.
Oh, 3 times.
Mm-hmm. Still more in the mouth, and it came out like this. It didn't felt.
Yeah.
It gets softer, and the yarn bounces out, so it's kind of nice, but it didn't felt.
And you know, that is one. If you felted it in the washing machine 3 times, that is an expensive egg, because you know,
I know
electricity prices here in Norway are up,
and
up.
That's why it didn't felt, because I was saving money
on electricity.
I put a lot of stuff in the washing machine.
Exactly.
So this was lying still in between all the things.
And we have to be economical now, because when we wash clothes, we need to put a lot of clothes in the machine to save electricity, because it is getting really expensive here in Norway.
Maybe we should felt it by hand. You know, we have that board that we used in the old days.
Maybe do that. Anyway, look, we've got a couple of eggs, and I'm going to stuff, because we have to finish these eggs. So let's just stuff them.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the podcast, in some 15-minute time, we'll show you the result.
15 minutes from now.
Yeah. And so anyway, Arne, while we stuff the eggs, let's talk about probably what is the main highlight of last week. The day that you received that email that really made your day.
The email?
Yeah.
Oh, that email.
Yes.
Yeah, because we have this, we get a notification if there's news about us.
Yeah, it's a service that our publisher paid for. I'm going to let you tell the story. I just want to do the background.
Explain the background.
So we are also authors, and we belong to one of the largest publishing houses in Norway. And our publisher, they pay for a service so that whenever we're mentioned in the Norwegian media, we get an email from this service, and they send us the article. So there's kind of like a highlight. They highlight our names, and our publisher has actually put the search words that we get emails on are obviously Arne and Carlos, and then our full names as well. So Arne Nerjode and Carlos Zachrisson, those are search words, as well as Arne and Carlos. And back in the day when we did our Christmas ball book, we'd get emails every day because we were in the media all the time. In the past few years, we have been trying to hold back a little bit. We don't want to be in the media too much here in Norway. So we don't usually get any emails.
That's changed. because now we do the things ourselves. We post on Instagram.
And then the times we do get an email that's saying that we are in the media, we'll read the article, right? And it will usually be during Easter or Christmas, and it will usually be a quiz because Norwegians love quizzes. So newspapers, they publish quizzes, and sometimes the question is, what is the name of the bestseller that Arne and Carlos did in 2010? Or they'll ask, what are Arne and Carlos most famous for? And usually the answer is the Christmas balls, right? So we get an email.
Yeah, and we have had a few this last weeks because we are doing a speech or a lecture in a book, like a festival, book festival somewhere in Norway, and that, but that's in the south of Norway. And this week we got an email, and it says, like Arne and Carlos, and it was mentioned in the article.
Our names were highlighted, so
and it says something about a place up north called Beiarn, and
which is in Finnmark, way up north.
And it was from a paper called Saltenposten.
So the Salt Post, which is because of it's probably a region there, or
Salten. It's up north, And we didn't understand why.
Arne looks.
We haven't done anything in Salten.
No, Arne, you look at me and you said, "What have we done now to get media attention?" And I go, I don't know.
And then I go into that email and I open it, and I had the best time of my life. I was laughing for 2 days. That was so annoying. Because apparently there are 2 guys up in the north of Norway in Beiarn. They are at a preschool club.
Which means they are around 3 or 4 years old.
Or 5 or 6, I don't know.
No, look at it. They're like 4 years old.
So there's Arne and a Carlos in a preschool.
In the north of Norway.
In Beiarn, up in the north of Norway. And when I saw this picture, especially one of the guys, he looks almost like me if he had curly hair when I was little. So this is...
I'll do it if you want to continue talking. I'll bring this.
Because there are Arne and Carlos up north in the preschool. That was so funny. And look at their clothes. The 3 of the guys, they had the knitted sweaters on. That is just how we looked when I was younger.
Yeah.
And they are named in random order, so we don't know who is the Arne and who is the Carlos, but there are Arne and Carlos in Beiarn, so we have competition.
Yeah, so
it's the new generation.
Exactly. So pretty basically, our publishing house who pays for a service that will let us know when we're in the media, because the search words are Arne and Carlos, they send us this article because it's supposedly about us. Now the title of the article is The Preschool Club, or the kids from the preschool club each got a bag with a knife. So that's the title of the article. The subtitle is recently the kids belonging to the preschool club in Beiarn visited Knut and Toril Sivertsen at the Sami Museum in Dålågarden in Tolådalen. So it's a Sami museum up in the north of Norway. And when you read the article, it turns out they had a wonderful time, and they were shown around the exhibitions. They learned a lot about the Sami culture, and then at the end of the exhibition, or the end of their day, they each one received a bag and a knife. And then the image, which is really, really fun, the one that we showed you, under the image it says, bags and butter knives. That's the title. And then it says, the kids in random order, Trim, Odin, Sigve, Arne, and Carlos show their beautiful bags and the butter knives that they received from Toril Sivertsen. And then you have the kids, as we showed you, and the kids are showing the bags, and there's an Arne and there's a Carlos in there.
Yeah, I think it was so cool, and we were talking about this cool idea, like if maybe next time when we're on the knitting cruise, if we stop in a harbor close to their place, we should do a sit and knit for a bit, or a Sunday episode, and have Arne and Carlos as guests.
I'd love to have.
That could have it could be so funny and so cute.
I'd love to have the Arne and Carlos in Beiarn. I would love to have them as guests in the city knit for a bit.
I think we should contact the school and ask if we can meet the two guys and have them as guests on our...
So this made our week. And
it was so cool.
It's funny on so many levels because, I mean, in Bayern, in the north of Norway, I mean, as you know, the more north you go in Norway, the less populated our country is.
There's 5 kids here.
There's 5 kids in preschool altogether, or in the preschool club, and usually that's the thing. The further north you are, the classes are smaller. I mean, in some schools in the north of Norway, they may have 5 kids altogether from the 1st to the 6th grade. So, and there would be a total of 5 kids. You know, 1 in the 1st grade, 1 in the 4th grade, 2 in the 6th grade, right? So to have an Arne and a Carlos in the same preschool club in the north of Norway is
think that is huge.
Pretty cool. Huge,
I think it's so cool. It's so cool. So that was the highlight. Actually, it was a highlight of a trip we did.
Yeah, that's true.
Which also was a highlight because we've been out and about.
Yeah, that's the other funny thing. We got this article through email, and it's from Northern Norway, and we got it when we actually were in Northern Norway because we've been traveling again.
Yeah, and I think, like, do they know we're on the boat?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So we went to Trondheim, and we took a new boat on the coastal route.
Express.
And we only stayed 2 nights, and we went from Trondheim to Tromsø, so we had 1 day in Bodø, and we had the evening in Lofoten, just 2 hours or 1 hour, so not much, but it was really, really nice to get out again and see people. And now there were like things are going back to normal in a way. There was a lot of tourists on the boat.
It
a
was
lot of Germans,
lots of Germans,
always,
some American, and we heard some French as well.
French and Spanish, and a few Norwegians. So it was really nice. But this boat was very interesting because it's more environment friendly.
So there's a new ship now en route. As you know, we do our knitting cruises on the Coastal Express, so it's the traditional route that links the south of Norway to the north of Norway. It's not a cruise ship in the sense that it's not 1,500 passengers.
No disco.
There's no discos. It's a ferry, and it actually connects the south to the north. It connects, the local region of the north from one place to the other because there's so few people there. They actually are dependent on these ships, right? The ships, they transport cargo, they transport cars. So people that live isolated in the north, they'll get on in one port and then leave on another. And then it's also a passenger cruise ship, but it's more like an expedition ship. It's not a touristic. It's touristic, but it's not for gambling and all that stuff. It has a very local flair.
It's a working boat.
It's a working boat. That's what they call it, and it only has the newest ships. They're actually quite large. They have about 179 cabins. So we're talking 179 cabins on these ships that we use versus the 5,000 cabin ships that we would never go on because those are not environmentally friendly anyway. Anyway, there are a couple of new ships coming in. The first one has been launched. It was launched before Christmas, and we were invited as guests of the cruise line. Which is a Norwegian, 100% Norwegian-owned cruise line. And we were invited on board to experience the new ships. Yeah. And the new ships are super, super exciting and interesting.
Yeah, they were like...
Because they're green.
Quiet.
Yeah.
It was really strange. Sometimes they were left from a harbor and you didn't understand the boat was leaving until you were out in the ocean because suddenly you feel...
So they are the new ships.
Very nice.
The new ships they have so far 1. There's another 3 coming. They have the largest battery pack in the world. So these are actually hybrid boats, and they can run on electricity for 4 hours. So it means that this ship can enter Geirangerfjord, for example, or it can go into Trollfjord. Yeah. Or to these remote areas up in the north, and it can enter these fjords. And it can do so on battery, which means that when it is in these sensitive places where there are ecosystems that are not necessarily under threat, but that are sensitive, the boat can actually run without any emissions, which is fantastic.
And I think the cruise ships are not allowed, like in the Geirangerfjord.
Not anymore.
So I think these electric boats are probably the only one who can go in there with a lot of people.
I mean, cruise ships are being banned from everything. They're going to be banned in Venice. They're going to be banned in the fjords.
Remember the time we went with our Beetle to Geiranger, and we drove down to Geiranger from where we live, and then we went up again a very steep road, and we looked down. I think we even took a picture of the Beetle with the fjord, and you see the big cruise ship.
Well, you see
this
the little.
Looks like.
We actually, when we looked down, we saw the big cruise ships. You know, the 5,000 people cruise ships, and next to it was the Coastal Express, which looked like a tiny little ant next to these ginormous cruise ships. Anyway, the new cruise ship that we went on, or the new ship, has the world's largest battery pack, and it's a hybrid. And when it doesn't run on electricity, because it can only do so for 4 hours, it runs on gas. So it doesn't have an engine like a conventional engine, because it doesn't need to have it, because it doesn't go on oil. And when it runs on gas, it also gets emissions down by around 30%. Because the boat stops in 34 ports, when it stops in the larger ports, in the larger cities, it spends 3 to 4 hours there. And that's when the battery packs are charged. And then when the boat runs on gas, also the batteries are charged as well. So and as Arne was saying, they're super quiet. So when the boats actually start, departing a port, you don't even feel it. You know, it's suddenly like, oh, we're already out at sea, kind of.
And these boats go on some days, and then the other boats that we have done on fishing cruises on, they go the other days. So sometimes you can have the traditional boat, and sometimes you can have the new boat. But I think the interesting thing was the food, because the food is good on both boats, but on this boat it was different because the people who own the boat, they don't like a buffet.
Well, not only that, buffets.
And it's not so.
Well, what they told us was that when we spent 2 days there and they explained everything, they're never going to do buffets on this boat, because buffets contribute to a lot of food waste. And by doing an a la carte service, as they do on this boat, they reduce food waste with 60%. So it is really a very green kind of thinking now, environmentally friendly.
So it's like you get like tapas.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna reduce emissions, and they're also gonna reduce food waste, which we like. Food was excellent.
And there was so many different choices, and like since you get it served at the table and you get all these small dishes, you can just order if you're not full, order more, and you can try so many different things, and you don't get that. I have to say, like if there's a buffet, and especially if there's shrimps or crab, I can be very aggressive.
Yeah, I know.
And I think that a lot of people are like that. Like you want to be in the cube.
Is this okay? Or should I stuff it more?
A little bit more, maybe. Feel this one. And people also tend to take more than they eat, so there's all the waste. If you're coming on our cruise, I think we will tell which boat we are, so you know what kind of experience.
Well, the thing is, anyway, back to the food. It was the lunch. Lunch was I love the food. Lunch was tapa style. You had a choice between at least 20 dishes, and they're all small. And they recommended we ordered 4 and then see if we were full. And if you weren't full, you could order more. And dinners were a la carte, 3 courses, a main, a starter, a main, a dessert. But they had actually a choice of 4. I think 4 starters, 4 main courses, and 4 desserts.
And if you want to have 4 starters, you
can. Yeah, they told us that the food is unlimited, so whatever you want, you can have. Doesn't matter. So, but the whole point is they bring it to the table, and if you're full or if you're not full, you can order more. And that way they reduce food waste. Yeah.
But 2 nights was too little. I wanted to go back. I wanted to do the whole thing, up and down.
The boats have a very Norwegian profile. They've all the materials in these new boats are from Norway. So you've got birch panels that decorate parts of the public areas. All the carpeting, all the chairs, all the upholstery is Norwegian wool. And then they invited a fantastic Norwegian contemporary artist, ARNE Carlos, who's one of our favorites. He was invited to decorate the public areas with his art, which is amazing.
Really?
And there's another 3 boats coming, and I suspect that the shipping line will invite other great Norwegian contemporary artists.
I wonder who that will be. That will be
probably one.
Looking forward to see that.
Probably one artist each boat or something like that. And these boats are going to sail twice a week. They've started already. This one started in December of last year, and there's going to be another 3 boats coming in. The next one is being delivered already now, and it will be starting its maiden voyage sometime in early May, I think. And then there's 2 more coming in. So the whole idea is that there's going to be 2 of these departures every week from Bergen and 2 departures every week from Kirkenes. So there'll be two going north and 2 going south at all times. And we want to do some of our knitting cruises definitely on these boats. But of course, we have to wait because number 1, they're very popular right now. Everybody wants to get on them. And number 2, we're waiting because they might still have some issues, teething problems or whatever you call them in English. So we're doing a cruise in May, which is going to be in the conventional old boat.
I'm so looking forward to
which
that.
we're very much looking forward to because even if it's not as environmentally friendly, it's still a small boat compared to the mega cruise ships. So it still doesn't give that much of an impact on the environment if you compare it. And then also, it has a lot of charm and quirk, in my opinion. But
I actually said I had liked that old style a lot, actually.
Me too, I love it. So it's going to be nice. We're going to do a little bit of both, but we are going to do a cruise in October. We've already set the dates. We're not releasing it yet, but it will be released soon. Or maybe it has been released. I'm not sure. Anyway, if you're on the waiting list or if you're on the cruise email list, you will get information.
We do a lot, but we don't organize the ships.
No.
Or the cruises.
Exactly.
That's the travel agent.
That's the travel agent's job. Anyway, if you're on that list, you'll get the information. If you're not on the list, you can write an email request to be on it and you'll get information. And there is going to be a departure in October with this ship, the new one, that we really look forward to.
And I'm so ready because we went into town in Bodø and normally we go up to the main street where you have the... This is good. Can I finish it for you?
Yeah, because you've got to squeeze it, right?
No, yeah. So we went up to the main...
Oh, look.
Normally we go up to the main street where the arts and crafts shop and the yarn shop and the thrift shops are. And we haven't seen more than that. But this time I've spotted a nice shop in the street above the main street.
A bookstore.
A bookstore.
Antiquarian one.
That was so beautiful. And the guy in the story was a little bit eccentric. And he said, we don't do like credit cards or stuff. We want real money.
Cash.
Because they didn't have the internet and everything was like set up. But he had so many beautiful books. And there was like books in many languages, like a lot of Norwegian, of course, but then like the English department and different departments. So next time, I'm bringing cash.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to spend
some money.
2 hours in. I saw some really nice stuff, but I didn't have time to go back to the cash machine.
Yeah, we'll go to the ATM machine. Yeah, and I was busy buying shoes because I do my interval training, which I've had to do since COVID.
You were in the training room every morning.
The fitness center,
center.
in the morning.
Look at you.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, I do my interval training on the treadmill. I run uphill, and then I do 4 minutes walking uphill. And I do 4 minutes running uphill. So I'm up all the time. And I was having a little bit of a problem with both my knees and my shin bones. And I was reading online what, could be the problem. And one of the conclusions was that maybe my shoes were not correct. And I went to the store and I talked to them about it. And they said that, because my shoes were like 8 years old. And she said, you have to change your shoes more often. So I got myself a new pair of shoes. And I've been doing a little bit of the uphill, and actually I'm feeling much better. So it was obviously the shoes.
While I was on my back reading a book.
Yeah, I was.
Because I am lazy.
Yeah, I was sweating like a pig.
I'm not doing that. Never. That ain't gonna happen. But I walk in the woods.
Yeah. So.
And I have binge watching. What is that the word?
Binge watching, yeah.
I found a new program on YouTube, which we have seen some of them together, but now I'm binge watching. It's I'm so bad at this.
National Portrait Gallery.
It's the National No, the portrait artist of the year
in the UK.
in the UK, and this is so interesting.
For the National Portrait Gallery.
Yes,
So
and
it's,
there are like different artists, and they have 3 famous people
That
in
they have to
different-
paint.
Yeah, they sit in different settings, and I've been watching this.
And then they have a winner, right, every time.
There's a winner every time, and then there's like the big competition, you learn so much about painting by watching these people, because I have decided that this summer I will start my new hobby. You remember I start new hobbies all the time, like the needle felting, you remember?
Which you stopped.
I have all the wool in the world, all the needles. I have everything, and I have a figure standing like this, but I stopped.
Yeah.
I think it's because of the folk costume.
Probably, yeah.
But now I'm going to be a painter.
Yeah.
I'm going to do oil painting. I've never done it before, so I think I can do it.
Yeah, and you'll do it so well.
And I learned from the artists, the portrait artists of the year.
Plus, you have that easel that you bought.
I won it.
You bought it.
It was a.
You won the auction, which means you have to pay for the easel.
But still.
And it came from an art school in Norway.
It's
from
beautiful,
the 50s.
and it's huge.
Massive, yeah.
It's massive.
We haven't used it too much, since you got it. You got it like 4 years ago.
Yeah, and we've been drying clothes.
Yeah, we've used it to dry clothes. It was quite funny because when Arne said he bought an easel and it had to be picked up in Oslo because otherwise the warehouse would start charging rent. I was, in my mind, in my mind, I thought it was very expensive, but in my mind, I was figuring it was like a triangular one with, very thin legs that you could just smack together
and you
put
can
it
walk
in the
out
car.
in the nature and you can paint.
You could put it under your arm and
stuff.
just walk. So I called Eric, our cameraman, because they were going to come here to film. And I said to Eric, could you pick that easel up on your way? And he said, sure, but do you know the dimensions? And I said, let me just check. So I go online and I check the dimensions and I call Eric up and I say, Houston, we have a problem. It was bigger than the car. So we had to get a truck to bring it here. Anyway. That's one of your auction items that you have won.
But it's beautiful. I'm going to wear like one of those big, like Odd Nedrum, the Norwegian painter. He wears this big shirt, like a dress.
Yeah, like a robe.
Like, he's like, I think it's inspired of, what's this old artist? Rembrandt?
Yeah, maybe.
Or something?
I don't know.
You can just walk around in the summer wearing nothing but this and paint. That is my new hobby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you had to teach me because you know how to do aquarelle.
I can do watercolors, but I don't know how to paint with oils. But I can paint with watercolors, yes.
So that's one thing that happened this week. I made a decision, and then we are working on the folk costume.
Yeah. So we went to the north of Norway. We stayed 2 nights on boat. Had a nice little get off in Svolvær in Lofoten, which is a very special area, and there's a lot of things happening for us up in Lofoten that we'll talk about later.
But actually, it started with before we went, we cleaned this room because we had guests coming from Sweden, a friend of you and her family, 2 kids and 2 dogs and husband, and we had
to clean the dining room because we had to have a place to sit and dine.
And because he was ready for the sewing for the jacket on the folk costume, but then we had friends coming over, so we had to clean. And then
on the day of the arrival, they said this. They called us to say they couldn't come because half of the family had COVID.
So they had to turn the car and go back to Sweden. So now the sewing machine is back, and we've been working.
Which, by the way, isn't surprising because everybody we know has had it.
They're all down now. Yeah. They're sick, all of them.
Our entire extended family of nieces, nephews, and little kids.
They have it, or they've been through it.
Yeah. So anyway, it wasn't a surprise. They didn't come, so we realized that, now we have time to start the folk costumes. And you may remember me talking about it a couple of weeks ago, how nervous I was. Because I know how to sew, but I'm not a tailor. Arne has a degree in tailoring.
But
so
not this kind of, more like industrial tailoring.
Yeah, but anyway, you have a degree. And when you have a degree, you have a degree. Yeah. So when we did, you do.
I made you a suit.
You made me a suit, and then when we sewed the shirts, the vests, and the pants of the folk costume, the whole instruction says that this is not something you can do unless you have a background in tailoring. So most people who make their own folk costumes, if they don't have a background, they have to take a lot of classes. There's like classes
If
specifically
you've
geared.
never done it before,
Yeah.
you can't make something from that.
But with Arne's background, we can. So we were working on both our folk costumes. I was doing mine on my machine. Arne was doing his in his machine. He was reading all the instructions and he was guiding me. And now I've been really nervous about the jacket because I was, kind of picturing something extremely difficult, especially this whole thing with the piqué that you had to do on the middle lining that I wasn't quite understanding. But we did it.
But you've done it.
Yeah.
You're so good.
So
This one is yours.
yeah, I'm gonna show it. So I was wearing like for I was wearing like for years because I mean we've had this for a year now, 1.5 year, and I was like, how in the hell or how in the world am I gonna get this
in
done?
the whole world.
And I got it done. So here are my two pieces. Pretty much, it's 2 layers of wool.
So you shape it on the sewing machine. You can do it by hand, but the people in the arts and crafts shop said you can do it on the sewing machine if you hold the fabric like in curve and you
I'm
curve
gonna show you guys.
through the machine.
So looky here,
I think you did a good job.
and it's done. And you've got all oops.
I mean,
You can't actually see it.
everything.
Maybe here, yeah. You can't. Yeah, you can't see it, but there's all these stitches there.
So this is 2 layers of fabric, and there's like some. You open it and you put some fabric under, and you make a dart on the side. And now we are going to iron this down,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna sew it by hand, just like stitch it to the front panel. So that's the next step now.
Yeah.
And
So this is the interior lining. I still need to steam it and shape it. So that's next step. But now
and
that
I
I've
finished mine as
yes, but now that we've done this, because I understand that making the jacket is not so difficult. It's just sewing all the parts together. It's the interior that was worrying me.
I had some other worries, but yesterday we went to the arts and crafts shop in Lillehammer, and
Shall I show this?
yeah, and I had to look at the jacket because there are some piping and there are some things that I didn't understand, like that part on the top of the sleeve.
So hang on. We're making this jacket here, not this one. This is a shorter version. We're making this long version that you can see here,
You can
right?
see, I have
And
the
then-
black one and you have the white
Yeah.
one.
And here is a image, a detail shot here of the jacket. You can see the white sleeve of my jacket, and then you can see the black jacket, which is the one Arne is making.
And you see that piece of fabric on the top of the sleeve with the red piping. That
Yeah.
one I didn't understand because it's different on both sides.
Yeah.
So I had to go to the shop and look at a jacket. So now I know that the long part is going to be on the back of the sleeve and the short part in the front. So that was one of the problems. And then we have this red fabric for the piping.
Yeah. Is that the one you have to rip?
Yeah, it says you should rip it.
How?
So I asked them, so you cut it in the middle and you just rip it. And I think the reason why you rip it is that the threads, or is it called the grain? Or
Yeah.
it's moving a little bit. So maybe in my head, I think it's because it gets more easy to shape it around those curves on the fabric.
Wow, I'm gonna get
I
it.
think.
So, but you ask them, and you're supposed to rip it.
Yeah, in the middle. But she said you should keep some of this for the sleeves because when they make the jackets, they use the whole piece and they
There's in the
fold
sleeves.
it up
Yeah.
like that. So there's a little red piping,
Yeah.
like little red piping coming out like this, and then the rest goes under the fabric, so you get this little one.
Okay.
So it's good to know, and also the jackets in the store are made in a factory.
Yeah.
So the jackets in the store look more like how I would have done it.
So we're doing the couture,
So we're doing it the couture way instead of the
industrial way.
couture.
We're doing the tailor way.
the tailor way. So
Yeah.
because I was looking inside the jacket and it was a little bit bumpy. Things was a little bit bumpy, but she says it's okay. It's going to be on the inside. No one will see it anyway.
Okay. So
I think we are a little bit too picky sometimes.
Yeah. So I was freaking out about that. That's done. Now I get to freak out about this. Oh, I'm gonna freak out.
I think I took a picture of it, but I think when we get started with it, I think we will understand. But we don't have to worry about that now because first we have to place this on the inside of the front panels, and we're gonna add a ribbon going down like this to make it more sturdy.
Yeah.
And the back piece is peanuts.
Okay, so I'll freak about
You
this
just
later.
sew it together and steam it open, and
But tell me, Arne, do you think we'll have these ready for May 16? So the day before Constitution
I
Day?
think we will.
We will.
And I think we will not today. I don't think we will do much today because I have a plan. Because we're going to the
Moose.
Moose. We're going to the thrift shop because I'm looking for a gray embroidery yarn.
Okay.
You want to know why?
I want to know why he's barking, but yeah, I want to know that too. Wait, sorry, you've got a little...
It's moose.
Moose.
Are you happy? I'm happy with the jacket. I think she said it's so easy.
And
And
now,
I think it is easy.
And then once the jacket is done, the next thing is going to be hat or no hat.
Hat.
I'm not sure yet.
What's happened? Oh, I think it's our neighbor. She said she should out because she is buying some rakfisk
Yeah, some
for a party.
Norwegian fish. Yeah, he's trying to tell us there's someone outside.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. Don't mind. Okay.
Poor Helmer.
Now I'm going to show you something because I have finished the dead woman's
Embroidery.
embroidery, but I missed a little bit gray, so it's not like almost all finished, but I need to get down to the thrift shop. So now this one is finished
Yeah.
because for those of you who haven't seen us before, I buy unfinished embroideries in the thrift shops and I finish them. So this was supposed to be like this, hanging on the wall, but I added more canvas, so it's a pillow. It's finished now.
It's terrible. We have to explain what's going on here.
He got this high pitched voice.
His girlfriend is outside. Somewhere there.
Freya is not the girlfriend. She is more like the mother. She's very strict, or an old aunt.
Yeah.
She's very strict.
She's like that old aunt nobody likes.
Yeah, the one who you have to invite for Christmas.
But that you don't really want to. That's Freya for Helmer. And outside is Trolla, his real girlfriend.
the hot stuff.
Yeah,
she's
stuff.
On the other side.
She's on the other side, and they're here this weekend. And when he sees her, he goes crazy. So.
And he's not allowed in the furniture, but he has one old chair in front of the window upstairs, so he can look over the lake and he can look over to his
And he's
girlfriend.
waiting for her and pounding and just
But every time she's out and he can see her or hear her or he see the car, he knows that she's around and he goes bananas.
Because he wants to go out and play with her. And he's very young. I mean, he's still 3 years old. So yeah.
And full of,
Yeah.
Oh, mojo.
Yeah. Whatever it is. Yeah. Let's pretend.
Okay,
Let's pretend like it's not there.
So this is finished. So I have a new one.
Yeah, but hang on before you show me the new one. So yeah, the old lady's project. It's not supposed to look like this. The old lady just did the cats, and then Arne has filled it in
And
using
some
his imagination.
Grass and flowers and leaves up here, and that was it. The whole background was.
You made up the whole background.
So I just use yarn from the thrift shop and I just fill it up. So on this one we did what do you call that pattern? Chevron? Rumps.
Yeah.
So I just filled it up.
I love it. Gorgeous.
Where we should put all the pillows I make, but
somewhere.
We have to finish them.
You know, you can never have enough pillows, and if you do, you can just change them around, and that will give your interior a new, fresh look. So that's fine.
You can put them in the garden.
So what is the new project? Tell me.
The fun thing is that you never know.
No,
because
you don't
I buy them and I don't show them because that's part of the
you buy them in secret.
Thing, because this one I'm not going to change at all.
Oh, okay. So it's going to be. Oh, that's hideous.
This is it's so 80s or what? Oh, look at the color. Oh, I love it. Don't you like it? Look at this.
Yeah, okay, I like it.
It's so cute. I think it's
cute.
So cute, and it's cross stitches.
It is?
Yeah. And it's a very thick yarn. And all the yarn was in the bag.
Yeah, it is. It's cross-stitched.
So I just have to finish the deer. And it's finished. So this is an easy project.
Yeah, that's going to take you a day. Or two.
Imagine how that sofa will look in the end. We have all the pillows.
I do have to say, I prefer the cats to that because the colors are not really my thing, but to each their own. I'm sure it'll be nice.
Post a picture of this on Instagram.
Yeah, we're gonna make a pillow. So we're gonna make a pillow cover for this, and it's gonna go somewhere.
I'm gonna post a picture of this before and after. But this I think is beautiful as it is. So this will be. You're not so convinced.
Oh, I'm convinced.
In the back of the beetle in the summer. Beautiful.
Maybe.
Okay, so this is a new product. This will be quick.
Yeah, it'll be exciting.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see how it turns out.
And it came with the needle.
Oh.
All of them actually, most of them comes with the
Yeah, because
needle.
this lady, she stopped and just handed them over, or I don't know what happened to her, or she...
You remember? We made a video once, and we also have a pattern for this booklet for needles.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't find the needles. And one day I found them in this old, like a sewing table I bought.
Mm-hmm.
So I took them out. So I had needles for a few weeks, and they're gone again.
Yeah, well...
A whole booklet with needles, and I thought my life would be so much easier if I have that booklet and I can find the needles.
So one of the questions I do hear quite a lot in this house is, where are the needles? Knitting needles, sewing needles, crochet hooks, whatever. Where are they? That's what Arne wants to know. And I keep telling Arne, if you had a place for them, like you have a place for the knives in the kitchen drawer, if you had a place for the needles, you'd never lose them. But we lose them all the time.
I have a place for sewing thread.
Yeah, you do.
I know where the sewing thread is.
Yeah.
This is like a cupboard we bought in Florence. It's from a monastery. It was the nuns' sewing.
Yeah, from a convent.
Convent.
It was the nuns.
Nuns' convent. It was the ladies' sewing desk. Commode.
Yeah, they're little sewing drawers, and we bought them.
Okay, so
anyway, Arne, we've got some finished stuffed balls or eggs. Sorry, we've got eggs that we've stuffed, and as we were saying, if you want to do Easter eggs or eggs, a dozen eggs, you can get these on our website at arnecarlos.com. What have you got there? The little florals.
Yeah, this one has duplicate stitch on top. So we have 12 eggs. If you want 12 more, we have the ones from last year.
But we're showing those later. So
where's the one from last year?
There.
This is from last year.
So we've got the ones from last year and we've got the ones from this year. Let's see if we can give close-ups to these, and you can just tell people what they are. So this is the
flower pot.
The flower pot with the little spring flowers. Yeah. So cute. Hey. And then we've got a little traditional one here with a little bit of a kind of a Nordic or Fair Isle pattern of some sort. I don't know what you'd say. Tradition.
You know what? Every time we do something like
here
that,
it goes.
It's traditional.
Hey.
It's hard to find a name. Can you know how many eggs we have made?
A lot. And we've got a cute little one here with snowflakes, because in Norway there's still snow in the spring. Hey, whoops, you missed it. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Are you okay?
Okay, I'm back.
So anyway, the first 3 Easter eggs are revealed of our 12 eggs, so our dozen eggs, and we'll show you a few more next week if you.
And if you want the old one, we have 12 more, and we have the Easter book with more eggs.
The Easter book is out of print, so we don't have the Easter book anymore.
We don't have the Easter. Well, we can post them on.
Well, we could
somewhere. Okay, and we have more news. Okay, Carlos, I think our 15 minutes are over. We had 15 minutes of embroidery, 15 minutes of knitting on the boat.
Yeah, 15 minutes of folk costume talking.
Folk costumes.
15 minutes of eggs. Yeah, there's been a lot of 15 minutes today.
Yeah, so we should say goodbye. And we should go down to the thrift shop, because I need some yarn.
Yeah, before we go to the thrift store, because I'm taking you today. Before we do that, we're going to have some lunch.
Yes,
because but at the time we recorded this, it was time for lunch. So
lunch, must I say. Is that in Downton Abbey?
Downton Abbey, they have luncheon.
And the other one, Gilded Age. luncheon.
Yeah, we're having a salad. Anyway, we hope you we hope you enjoyed this week's episode. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Please become a subscriber. The Arne and Carlos family is great, and we have so many videos here that we want to share with you guys. So by becoming a subscriber, you can then click on that notification button, and then you'll never miss an episode. You'll be notified as soon as we post something.
Yeah.
We post episodes usually on Wednesdays and on Sundays. Probably not every Wednesday, but for as long as we can, or as much as we can anyway. So stay tuned, as there are new episodes coming every week.
Yeah.
Our Sunday episodes are tutorials, and look who's coming here. Hey, Alma! Hey!
And we have all the knitting cruises and the garden tours. So if you put yourself on the mailing list, you will have news before other people.
Yeah.
And you get the time to sign up for them.
And you can also go to arnecarlos.com and click on the journeys, the little journeys from the menu. And you can see if there's some journeys going on that you can sign up for. So hopefully we will meet you in person in one of our journeys. And if we do decide to tour in the UK or in the US later this year,
Japan,
you will also be noticed through the newsletter. We do not actually release information like that other than in the newsletter. So if you want to find us somewhere in the world, you do need to subscribe to that. So,
saying good hello and goodbye.
Hello and goodbye. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you again soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. How was your girlfriend?